Hey everybody, and welcome to Front Porch Comedy. I'm your host, Scott Castellanos. Remember to keep creating, remember to keep posting, keep that content coming. Use the hashtag #Can'tStopComedy if you can. If not, whatever. I'm using it. Just want to say, thanks for all the shout outs to everybody yesterday for the interview on the radio. I really appreciate all the love that you guys gave me and all the shares and all that fun stuff. So thank you guys very much. I know I'm going a little bit cuckoo here, just working at home and kind of being stuck in in the basement and doing all that stuff. One of the things that's kind of keeping me sane is listening to some podcasts. And I want to give this isn't my shout out portion, but I just wanted to say, hey, keep listening to those podcasts. If you have the ability to subscribe to the Patreon for any of these podcasts, please do so. I know it helps a lot for the comedians and the people creating those. And even if not, if you're listening to your favorite podcast and they know that listenership is up, they're going to still get those sponsors, and those sponsors will keep advertising. And if you're buying anything from those sponsors, make sure you use those codes that they're asking you to use, because you know what, everything helps the comedians right now any way they can, because they're not able to work out on the road. So appreciate that. And Brian Regan right now is offering free downloads of his 2011 album, and every download that happens, he's making a donation for comedians that are out of work right now. So he's one of the greatest guys. So Brian Regan, hit that up. All right, guys. It's shout out time, everybody. This is where I give a shout out to a local small business, and I also give a shout out to a comedian, someone that I like and I'm a big fan of that's local here. So the first shout out is going to go to the small business. I'm going to go to Devon Avenue Meats, DAM. Devon Avenue Meats. They're a butcher shop here in Park Ridge. They're on Talcott, right where Talcott and Devon crisscross over there, just east of Cumberland and west of Canfield. Devon Avenue Meats, great meat there, guys. Perfect for grilling. They're still doing some contactless, you're able to pick up some meat and all that stuff. And I know that they're providing lots and lots of good services right now, especially with the holidays coming up. So shout out again to Devon Avenue Meats. Secondly, my shout out for the comedian tonight is going to go to a local comedian here, Dan Brennan. Dan Brennan is hilarious. I've seen him at pretty much any mic that I've done, suburbs or the city. He shows up at some point. I know he's recorded an album in the past year or two. He's a hilarious guy, and I know that one of my favorite jokes that he does, and I haven't heard it in a while, but is the old parking spot bit that he does for it. If you get the employee of the month kind of parking spot bit, I'm not going to ruin it, but it's a hilarious one. I love it. Shout out to Dan Brennan, and he's just a hilarious guy to just sit there and shoot the shit with. So thanks for putting out great content, Dan. And remember, check him out once all this stuff stops. Dan Brennan, go check him out, guys. It's joke time, everybody. Time to get those jokes going. Today I'm going to give you a little story about something that happened not that long ago. So without further ado, everybody, here's your comedian, Scott Castellanos. Hey everybody, I am Scott Castellanos, and how's everybody doing tonight? Same as it's been pretty much every other night, huh? Stuck in your house and not out here. All right, guys, so I'm going to give you guys a little bit of a story, something that popped into my mind recently. Actually, today I was thinking about it a lot, so because I was thinking I could really probably use some of this right now with all the craziness and all the stress going on in my life. But I'm going to tell you guys about a concert I went to not that long ago. So let's say a little while back, we went to a Lumineers concert. And the fun thing about the Lumineers concert is we got some of the other couples that are, that we hang out with a little bit around the area, and we all got together and we figured, let's go to a show together. So we hit up the Lumineers. Whether I'm a Lumineers fan or not, that has nothing to do with this story. But what we did, because we're old folk now, we did a little pre-party action. Get that buzz on before you get to the old show. So we were there, kicking back a couple beers, shooting the shit, having a good time. And, somebody said, hey, you know what? My niece had this at a family party that we had recently, and she started passing around these gummy bears that were soaked in vodka or various other, types of alcohol. So pretty cool. When you get to our age, you start getting all your party ideas from your nieces and nephews and stuff. That's just at the point of our life where we're at. So anyways, a few gummy bears later, a couple beers later, the Uber comes to pick us up to bring us to the show. That's right, people. we Ubered it that night. So that means when you're my age and you got kids, that's your free pass to party. So we knew Uber was a free pass for us to party that night. So hit that up, get to the show, got there a little bit early so we could see one of the early bands. Got our, big buckets of beer that cost about $40 a piece. Finally make our ways to the seat. We sit down, and one of the guys with us has a gummy bear in his hand. He goes, "Hey, Scott, look at what I snuck in." I'm like, "Oh, great." Boom, pop it in my mouth. Wow. I thought this was going to be one of them vodka gummy bears. Turns out, this one had a little something in there, guys. A little something called marijuana. So that's what I had up in that gummy bear, and well, I wasn't expecting it. And I ate the whole thing, and apparently we were going to split that amongst a couple of us. So I took the whole thing, and I was like, uh-oh, what's this night going to have in store for me? Now, guys, I haven't touched this stuff in probably at least 10 years, so I knew I was in for a wild ride. So as the show starts and everything's getting going, about 30, 40 minutes later, I start feeling a little bit different. And all of a sudden, I'm all in my head. Just, like I said, not necessarily a Lumineers fan, but it was feeling pretty good at the moment, right? So there I am listening to the Lumineers. They get to this one part of the show, and the lead singer of the Lumineers says, "Hey, everybody, this song was inspired by Bob Dylan. And I want everybody, let's give it up for Bob Dylan." Now, I'm all inside of my head with everything going on, right? So all I'm thinking to myself is, what if there's some guy out there in the audience that doesn't like Bob Dylan? And he doesn't really want to clap for him, but he doesn't want to look like a douchebag that's not clapping for Bob Dylan, right? So, what is he doing? Maybe is he justifying in his head so he can clap and not stand out? And he's like, well, Bob Dylan did some good stuff for people, he brought poetry to rock and roll. He made folk music part of the mainstream. And it really, changed the landscape of music. Hell, he made it cool to bring a guitar to a party when you were in college and be that guy that's going to get a little under the shirt action from that girl because he's got that guitar. He made that all possible, everybody. So he's justifying this in his head. He's thinking, yeah, okay. But now, how much do I clap for Bob Dylan? Do I do a little golf clap? Do I really go all out? Got to find that middle ground. Now, while all this is going on in my head, I realize there's 10,000 people clapping for Bob Dylan except for me. And I like Bob Dylan, so that's kind of weird. So got 10,000 people clapping for Bob Dylan, except for a handful of people that are right around me, that are just looking right at me, and I'm standing there laughing like a freaking idiot. Because I think this whole scenario is hilarious, but nobody knows what's going on but me. Well, needless to say, that was my first experience with edibles, ladies and gentlemen. And you tell me if it was good or not, I don't know. But I thought it was funny that night and decided to type it into my old notes thing on my phone, and woke up the next day, looked at my phone. I'm like, I remember I wrote something down from that show. And there it said, as clear as day, guys. And it said, "Badabadap nap." Badabadap nap is what it said. And I had to figure out from there, work backwards, what happened that night. Anyways, that's my joke for tonight. It's a little bit of story. Remember to use the hashtag #Can'tStopComedy for all your content that you're posting. Remember to like, subscribe, follow, do all that stuff, guys. And thanks again for tuning in to Front Porch Comedy. Have a great night.